Hey guys, it's Jolene here. Today we are going to talk about soil-free planting. Before we start, I just want to thank Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for creative and curious people. A lot of plant people ask me where to begin with creating their own engaging content. My first suggestion is to pick up a skill, whether it's photography, video editing, marketing, or macrame making. These are all important skills to start creating content. The course I'm currently taking on Skillshare is called Advanced Video Editing with Premiere Pro 2020 by Jordy. It's a fun and interactive course. It's a great way to communicate and connect with fellow creatives. For people who already know the basics of video editing, it's a great course to take your video to the next level. The first 1,000 people to use a link in my description will get a free trial of Skillshare Premium membership, and after that, it's only around $10 per month. So there are a couple ways to soil-free planting. Number one, you can just grow the plants in water. Obviously, that's the best for propagating plants. And number two, you can grow them in moss. Basically, that's also the best method to propagate plants, and also a lot of anthuriums love to grow in moss. Number three, you can grow in perlite. I believe majority people don't like this perlite method, but I've known a grower who always use perlite and their plants are so healthy. And number four would be LECA. I'm sure there are other ones out there. The four I've mentioned are the most common ones that I know. But among four methods, we are going to focus on LECA today. What is LECA? So LECA stands for Lightweight Expandable Clay Aggregate. Obviously, I don't use that term, that long full term in my day-to-day life. I just say LECA and everybody knows what it is. So for those of you who don't know what LECA is, basically they are baked clay balls and you soak them in water for, some people soak for 24 hours, some people soak 3-4 days. Well, I soak it for overnight. That's it. Sometimes I soak it for a few hours if I'm in a rush, I don't have time. So when you soak the balls in water, they expand and trap water inside of it. That's the water source for the plants. The great benefits for LECA, number one is soil-free, mess-free, mess-free. Ugh, mess-free. Oh, mess-free. Don't take me wrong, I love soil. I'm definitely a soil girl. I don't mind the mess at all, but I do mind fungus gnat. I kind of have a gnat problem, and I can always kind of find fungus around my plants, around the base of my plants. They always lay eggs in my soil. I use mosquito bites and I use this insect spray, but they are under control. Oh, I also use a little sticker. My night problem is totally under control, but LECA is just a great alternative to soil if you have fungus gnat infestations all the time. And number three biggest benefit is you don't ever have to worry about root routes if you use it correctly. When we plant a plant in soil, if you overwater it or you don't use soil with great aeration, the soil can basically hold on to the roots and suffocate it. After a while, you realize your leaves are turning yellow, your stalk is getting soft. That's usually signs of root rot. With LECA, you're not putting plants directly in soaking wet soil. It's just these clay balls. That's it. The humidity keeps the roots really happy. They actually create space for your roots and also provides great air circulation around root system. If you are a frequent traveler, or if you travel a week to 2 weeks at a time, LECA is a really great growing medium to keep your plants from getting too thirsty. So for me, I don't have to add water to my LECA plant throughout the week. Even on a Saturday and Sunday when I check on the plant, I still have around a third of the water. The speed of evaporation is very slow for me because I keep all my plants in a greenhouse cabinet. But obviously you want to flush your LECA and change new water every week. So yeah, it's great growing medium for travelers. And last but not least is LECA is very cost efficient. They are reusable. I reuse my LECA all the time because I grow my LECA. I grow mostly propagated plants in LECA. It's a great way to start your new plant and give it a stronger root system with LECA. So I reuse my LECA all the time. They could be a little pricey when you buy a brand new bag, but you can always reuse them. As long as the plants are healthy, there's no like, pests, then you can always reuse it. Now I want to talk about the types of containers you can use for LECA. Probably my favorite is just a glass jar. Put LECA directly into a glass jar and then the plant and fill the jar with LECA. And after a few months you can just see the roots start growing. Now you can basically keep track of how your plants is doing if the roots is healthy. This is same thing as number one. It's just a medicine bottle. It's for people who love to recycle. You can always find these jars to use for LECA. And number two is you can use a normal nursery pot with holes on the bottom and then find a cage pot, a cover pot. When you fill this nursery pot with LECA, and then you can fill this cover pot with water, and then you can just sit this pot in the cover pot. And then next one, clear pots right here. They both have holes in the bottom. And same concept, a lot of people use these. They're basically a fancier version of clear pots. And they are the net pot, orchid pot. So they have a lot of holes on the side to give it better airflow, aeration. So what I did with this Hoya is I put my Hoya cutting in LECA in this net pot, and I put water in the cover pot, and I just sit this plant in water like that. So yeah, whether you have a pot without a drainage hole or you have a pot with drainage hole and you can put it in a cover pot, they all work fine. You just have to keep in mind that when your roots start to grow, they get attached to these balls. Then you won't be able to just pull the plant out. You have to make sure the opening of the cup is big enough for your whole roots to come out and the balls that it attached to. That being said, this won't work. I already showed you my Hoya obovata. I imported from Thailand. When it arrived, the roots completely dried out. There was no roots, and it happened 2 weeks ago. I was devastated, but I really wanted to live, so I decided to give it a try in LECA. And I haven't checked how the roots is doing. Should we do this, guys? Awesome! I see healthy and thick roots. Okay, now I'm going to put it back. I fill the bottom third of the pot with LECA, and then I set it back in. Now, because the way I position the plant, you can see on the side of the net pot, you can see there's a little root. So now the roots are long enough, we can start to monitor the root development, the most exciting part. It's also a propagation. Well, not a propagation, more of a rescue. I imported from Indonesia. And same deal, the roots dried out, fell off, no roots. I stuck it in water. Baby roots popped out but stopped growing. The plants, I wasn't sure if it's dead or not, and I was like, okay, let's keep my fingers crossed. I'll try LECA, and I think it's doing really well. The next thing in our agenda is to actually do it. This is one of my import. It's a Aglaonema bicolor and has really good root system already. I've been having it in water, but I think it's time for LECA. I tend to put plants with stronger and thicker roots in LECA rather than thin roots like begonia. I think these thicker roots do better in LECA. I already pre-soaked this LECA last night. Fill the bottom third of this jar with LECA. Does that look like a third? Pretty good. Now we take our aglaonema and stick it in here. And fill it up with more balls. Oh no. How does that look? Pretty good. So I have my water bottle over here. This is my Diet Coke, old Diet Coke bottle. Obviously my favorite drink is Diet Coke. So I already filled it up with my water. I'm not going to do pH test. I'm not going to do pH adjusting because it's too complicated for me. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not really kidding, but I did buy this pH test strip and I tested my water. The result came out is around 7. 7 is like neutral. Tropical plants tend to like 5.5 to 6.5 more acidic soil or water. But my plants have been doing awesome. All my plants, I've never do any pH adjustment. They are doing fine. So I'm just not gonna do that extra step. If your water is like 8 or 9, I think you might want to do pH balancing. LECA doesn't have any nutrient. They are just baked clay balls. Unlike our soil, you mix with compost, like worm castings, it constantly feeds the roots with very rich nutrients. LECA doesn't have anything, but we can add nutrients to our water to help the plants grow better. I use SUPERThrive. A lot of people use SUPERThrive. It's not a secret. So I'm not gonna get into how awesome that is. You already know. You're supposed to use a quarter of SUPERThrive for 1 gallon of water, and this Coke bottle is half gallon. Basically, you're gonna eyeball a 1/8. Okay. Well, maybe a little too much, but we're gonna shake it. With these bottles, with these drink bottles, you can put the cap on and shake it. You can't really shake a watering can like that. So now we added nutrient to our water. We can go ahead and feed our plant. We're going to fill the water to 1/3 of the bottle. Okay, that is perfect. I hope it'll enjoy this place. I really worry sometimes when I grow plants in water. I really worry about root rot because it happened before. Even the root didn't rot, the stems start rotting. So I think LECA is great. The roots are not actually touching the water. The roots, it's surrounded by these balls soaked in water. So basically these balls are constantly releasing moisture out of itself. That's how it feeds the roots. I think we covered everything, and thank you guys so much for watching. I'm obviously not a full-blown LECA lady. I'm still, most of my plants are still in soil, so LECA is really a new thing for me. I've been doing it for a little while, but I think it's totally a great alternative to soil. And I'm sure a lot of you guys are expert at using LECA. If you have any suggestions for me and the viewers, the followers, the fellow plant friends, please leave your comments below or your suggestions below. We would love to learn from your experts. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!